everyone, I'm Emma Baraku and I'm going to present my research paper, Freelancing as a Tool of Increasing the Activity Rate of Women in Kosovo. The issues that are presented in my research begin with a situation that is actual in my country. Kosovo has experienced positive rates of economic growth throughout this last decade. However, the unemployment rate has constantly been high. A large portion of the unemployment in Kosovo is represented by women. What is more concerning is that the inactivity rate of women is predominantly higher by 81.6% compared to the inactivity rate of men at 36.7%. This means that only 1 in 5 women in Kosovo is employed or looking for a job. The main reasons why women are not part of the labor force stem from the responsibility of taking care of children and elderly, low employment opportunities, lack of affordable childcare, and level of education. While inactivity of men in the labor market is attributed mainly to the low education, training, and lack of job opportunities, women inactivity in the labor market is attributed mainly to family-related responsibilities, defined as taking care of children or elders and household work. Considering the evolution of the job market and technology, my research seeks to analyze the influence of freelancing as a tool to increase the inclusion of women in the market and the potential of the country to promote this platform. Freelancing can be explained through the gig economy, where workers take on individual projects promoted by companies on the internet and perform their tasks without a long-term commitment. This work is often performed in the comfort of home through access to internet connection. For managers, this means adaptation to economic cycles without the need to adjust capital as fixed costs, whereas for employees, this is an opportunity to be part of the job market which would otherwise require movement, along with freedom to be flexible in terms of working hours. The growth of freelancing can be explained by the features and services it enables, namely flexibility in terms of location and hours. Freelancers have the commodity of choosing where they work from and how much they work for. For instance, a student can work from the library or a cafe during breaks. A mother can work from home and look after the children. Apart from this, freelancers hold the power of choosing their own workload, thus increasing their authority. They decide which projects to undertake and which ones to lay off when it gets busy. In addition, they get to establish their own rates. As a result, the freelancer's self-esteem increases, which leads to better performance and efficient time management. Since freelancing entails no confinement to location, global market exposure is an obvious outcome. A freelancer will be able to serve a client in Germany or Pakistan while enjoying a cup of tea in Pristina. Overall, freelancing is perceived to increase job satisfaction and thus productivity and improve health, solely through the freedom of choice that it provides. Despite the advantages of flexibility, development of skills, and international exposure, freelance work has its disadvantages as well. Initially, there is lack of security when doing freelance job. That is because there is no guarantee of continuous work. According to a research conducted by Upwork, almost 63% of freelance workers pinpoint the lack of security in terms of financial proceeding as their biggest barrier. Another factor that correlates with no security includes social benefits and taxes. As global promotion has its advantages in terms of connectivity and thus more job opportunities, it also indicates that there will be more competition between workers. In turn, competition leads to a potential drop in earnings as each worker bids against another in order to win projects. Considering that reasons attributed to women inactivity rate do not necessarily reflect their unwillingness to join the labor market but rather constraints the market itself has imposed, remote work is perceived as a way of lowering these barriers through the flexibilities and opportunities it provides. My research investigated the impact of freelancing as a platform to increase the participation of women in the labor market of Kosovo. And in order to do so, the study offers a mixture of qualitative and quantitative research. Since existing research on the freelancing work in Kosovo is lacking, reports based on the broader subject of online economy were used in order to provide an assessment of remote work. Information and data gathered from STIC and CODE enabled the examination of freelancing by observing the strengths and challenges of the digital market in Kosovo. The analysis of these reports suggests that with a high rate of internet penetration, solid infrastructure, and significant growth of the ICT industry, Kosovo has potential to provide employment opportunities and facilitate the generation of income through the digital market. I also found out there are certain initiatives that have been implemented by the government of Kosovo to tackle the inactivity rate of women and the potential of digital economy at the same time. The Ministry of Economic Development, in cooperation with the World Bank and Helvetas, initiated a pilot project called Women in Online Work in 2016. This project was implemented with the purpose of increasing the knowledge of remote work opportunities for unemployed women and enabling them to generate income. The target group consisted of women of age from 18 to 34 years old who had completed or were in the process of completing a higher level of education. The project was initially concentrated on rural areas of Lipian and Jakov in 2016, and then when it was extended to Pristina during 2017. There were certain challenges, though, observed during the implementation of this program, such as high dropout rate and struggles in teaching technical courses in a short period of time. From 192 participants in Jakov and Lipian, 92 dropped out, while only 100 graduated from the program. Reasons behind this were argued to be lack of necessary English skills and thus motivation to continue the demanding training, and dissatisfaction regarding the intensity and curricula of the program. Overall, this project proved to be successful as participants started winning their first contract at the end of third week of training. 67% of women who graduated from this program obtained at least one job online during the program. From this percentage, the majority were successful bidders, gained 1 to 5 online contracts, and the rest were highly successful bidders, 6 to 20 online contracts. In terms of income, the average earnings per month of women active graduates were at 400 euros, higher than the usual average wage per month. Some even started their own startups. For my primary research, a survey and focus group discussion was conducted. According to the survey results, the main barriers reported were lack of suitable jobs, lack of flexible jobs, low wage, and inadequate qualification. It's important to mention that the greatest barrier faced by inactive women is perceived to be low wage by 50%, while lack of suitable jobs follows closely with 30%. This goes to show how discouraged women feel when they are not given a proper compensation for work done. While work in itself is viewed as a significant advance towards financial independence of women and as an instrument for improving their handling position inside the family unit, when the reimbursement level for paid work stays low, such outcomes are exceptionally far-fetched. Subsequently, taking into account that more than 1 of every 3 women sees the low wage as a barrier, it demonstrates that the labor market fails to reward women correspondingly for their work. Therefore, there is no incentive for women to look or search for a job. Instead, discouragement and hesitation prevails. When the respondents were asked about the factors that would improve their work experience, participation in the job market, incorporation of part-time flexible opportunities, possibility to work from home, availability of more suitable jobs, and greater access to training were perceived as the top answers for both genders. This is in line with the barriers that they are facing. We can see that in general, men and women think that the labor market in Kosovo should offer more options that are not limited to location and time, and are essentially more adaptable to their needs. The findings from surveys suggest that 88% of respondents would be willing to join the freelance work, including 86% of inactive women, while 4% of respondents reported unwillingness to consider freelancing as a job option, whereas 7% were not sure. Lack of sufficient information regarding this type of employment is perceived to be a prevalent restraint for both genders, including inactive women. The focus group discussion also revealed that there is a lack of technical skills in our population to do online work. The main gap lays within the education system and curricula that are more oriented toward conservative methods such as memorization and use of textbooks, whereas doing research and incorporation of technology is rarely practiced. So, despite the fact that initiatives were undertaken to increase the activity rate of women in Kosovo and capabilities have been fostered to offer employment opportunities through digitalization, the research disclosed that this potential is greatly challenged by lack of awareness and the absence of sufficient technical skills when it comes to working online. Therefore, certain recommendations were compiled to tackle these challenging areas and enable extensive reach of inactive women. The first recommendation is facilitate promotion of freelancing by initiating awareness campaign. The awareness campaign should tackle the opportunities this employment offers, as well as include testimonials from active freelancers, specifically women, so that credibility is increased. Second recommendation is enable the expansion and progress of the Women in Online Work project. By increasing the length of the training procedure and thus decreasing its intensity, the motivation of participants would improve and the dropout rate would go down. Third is reforming the education system by emphasizing computer literacy. This is a long-term goal that would tackle the lack of skilled labor problem in Kosovo. Through reforms in the education system that represent a focus on information technology and research, enhancement of skills is achieved from an early age. In conclusion, women constitute a significant part of our society, and their exclusion is deemed detrimental for the prosperity of a nation. Freelancing is viewed as a saving grace, especially for women who are married and have children. Historically, women have been forced away between sacrificing the opportunity to be children or progress further in career. Filled with guilt and dictated by social norms, many women have been compelled to leave their dreams behind and solely take care of the family and household. With the introduction of freelancing, such a sacrifice is not the option anymore. By not being limited to location and time, freelancing provides the opportunity to flexible activity and full authority. Women can choose how they want to work and how much they want to work, while still taking care of children or others. Subsequently, their financial resources increase and they have more power in decision making. For the participants, the biggest benefit of freelancing is financial independence and empowerment of women.